Hey guys, so today, this is our little like soft girl era weekly episode thing, but so welcome back to this. If you've been watching this series, let me know in the comment section down below how you're enjoying it, what you're liking about it, all of that. This is really just something that I wanted to do. It's really for me personally, just to get all this kind of stuff out here, and it helps me with my growth, but also I feel like, you know, some of the stuff that I'm working on and challenging myself with and trying to heal from, a lot of you guys resonate with it. And so you've actually reached out to me in the comment section, or a lot of times that the stuff will be more personal. So you'll DM me on Instagram and stuff. And I really, that means a lot to me. So while these videos are not like soaring to the top of my analytics as far as like views and everything go, that doesn't really matter to me, because I know that like this is fulfilling to me. This means something to me to share this kind of stuff with you guys. So anyway, welcome back to this little series that I'm doing. And today, before we get into what I want to talk about, which by the way, that topic is, I want to talk about we're going to get into all that down there. Okay. Reframing negative thought patterns and negative thoughts and Miss Kitty. Okay. Reframing negative thought patterns and stuff into more positive ones. But before we get into that, we have to talk about all of this that's going on down here, because I don't know if you could hear the hissing and the growling and Mr. Kitty like whining, but it's a lot. So the cats are not camera ready. Well, Mrs. Camera ready, but she's distressed. And Mr. Kitty is not exactly camera ready. Mr. Kitty, okay. So I'm gonna tell you a story. Story time, okay? Mr. Kitty, okay. I guess for this story time, because I don't really edit these particular videos, so hopefully I don't get too tongue-tied and I can actually get this out without getting super distracted. But so back in December, November, Mr. Kitty had an episode where he had to be taken to the vet. If you guys remember that, I think it was actually in the beginning of December or late November. And Mr. Kitty got very sick, and he had a urinary, crystals in his bladder. And I was very distraught and upset about it. There's a video on my channel, the whole process and everything that I had to get done with him. So if you want to watch that, you can. It's on my channel from Vlogmas. But so that happened, and I had to switch him to a special food. And the food that I switched him to when that whole thing happened, there's two different kinds. There's a wet and a dry. The wet food was the Royal Canin urinary tract health canned food, like whatever. And the dry food was this Purina SR, or like urinary tract health formula or something. And I bought a huge bag of it, okay, right? So a lot of times when I buy their cat food, I buy really big bags of it, and I keep it in like an airtight container so that it stays fresh. And also, I can't just leave like a bag of cat food rolled up like in the pantry, because Mr. Kitty will get in there and he'll chew through the bag, because he's like a Maine Coon and they're really smart. So I have to keep it in like an airtight container, right? Okay, so I get this bag of food and everything is like going fine with it. I feel like everything's good. Like Mr. Kitty's great. Well, I open up this like airtight container one day, and I noticed like there's a moth in there, like a little moth, and I'm like, oh, okay, no big deal, whatever. So it flies out, I kill it, whatever, we move on. Okay, then like a couple days go by, whatever, when I need to fill their food bowl again, I open up this thing again, and guys, this is like now in March, like this was like a long time had passed, right, since I bought the food. So I don't have the bag anymore, and it just like whatever. So I open it up again, and I notice like moth webs, or like looks like webs, like dust webs, or like moss leaf in the container. And I'm like, what are these, like what is going on in here? So I'm like, that's weird. So I wipe up where they are on the edge, and I'm like, okay, whatever. Flash forward like another week, and when I go in there to get their food or whatever, I note, like, when I open it up this particular time, like 10 moths like fly out of the container, okay? And I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? So I look into the thing, and I've noticed that when I bought this back from the store, I guess, there was like pantry moth larvae in the bag. And like, I don't know what the life cycle is for these moths or whatever, but like they started like reproducing and like laying eggs all throughout this food. And basically now their food is like infested with these pantry moth larvae, and eventually they grow into moths that were like all over my apartment now. So I'm like running around with a broom trying to kill all these moths and stuff, and I'm like, oh my God. So I put their food in the container out on my balcony, and I'm like, okay, I gotta do something about this. So I go on shelby.com because I'm like, well, I do some research first of all to find out what these things are. I figure out that they're pantry moths, and then I'm like, okay. So I'm like, how do you get pantry moths? So then I'm like, oh, okay. So my apartment doesn't have those. So I guess that I got it from the pet store that I picked up this food from. And I'm like, well, crap, I'm out of luck because like I bought this food in December, and now it's like March. So they're not going to take it back. First of all, I don't have the bag. I don't have the receipt. It's been months, right? And while these things were reproducing and doing their things inside the airtight container, right? So I'm like, okay, crap. So I'm out of this food. I got to order some more food. So I go to chewy.com, you know, that website where you can order like pet stuff. So I go to chewy.com. I order the new, I couldn't find the Purina one on there because I couldn't remember exactly what it was called, but I got the Royal Canin urinary tract health one thing for cats. And I was like, the doctor also said I could get that one. I remember that from when he went. So I ordered that one, and I ordered some more wet food for him. Okay. Fast forward. The new food comes. I put out a big old bowl of the new food for Mr. Kitty and Miss, and they seem to really love it. They are like eating it up. They love it. Okay. I wake up the next morning and there is cat vomit all over the house. And I'm like, oh, and I'm not talking 1 or 2 piles. I'm like 3 or 4 piles of cat vomit, like scattered, like randomly throughout the apartment. And I'm like, what in the world is going on? And so I'm like, Mr. Kitty, he must have just gorged himself. I go to the food bowl and it's like almost empty. And when their food bowl is full, it's like about 3 days worth of food, because cats are grazers. They just go and they nibble. And so I have the dry food for them to just nibble. And then the wet food is like what I feed them, like, you know, on a schedule. So I look at the dry food. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, Mr. Kitty, you can't eat that much. Like, you just gorged yourself. So he's like, obviously like super full and bloated, right? From eating all this food. So I'm like, okay, you'll be fine. So then some time goes by, and this is going to get a little gross. So just a forewarning. It's going to talk about bowel movements. So it's going to get a little gross. Okay. Just letting you know, okay, trigger warning to bowel movements. Okay, so then I'm like hanging out with Ingrid or whatever, and then she leaves, and then like this is like last week, and then I go over and I see Mr. Kitty, and he's like looking a little like, he's meowing, looking a little whiny. He's not looking like his normal self. And so I just go over to check on him. I'm like, Mr. Kitty, are you okay? And then I notice when I say that, he gets up and he goes to the litter box and he stands in there like he's trying to poo-poo, but he can't poo-poo. And so I'm like, oh my God, what happened? So then I let him do his thing, and then I'm just like, okay, Mr. Kitty, you must have to take a poop because you ate so much or whatever. And so I'm just like, okay, let me get you some water. So I freshen up his water, and I put out like a little liquid treat for him to like help him like get more liquids in there to kind of help pass it. I feed him the treat, whatever. A little bit later on, I'm looking at him. He still looks a little backed up. He's acting kind of like he might not be feeling the best. And so I look at his little tail, and hanging out of his little booty is like a little piece of a turd. Okay, a little dingleberry, if you will. Okay, and so I'm like, okay, that's gross. So then I'm like, oh no. So then I'm gonna have to be forced to get it, right? I'm gonna be forced to get the dingleberry, because he clearly can't get it out, or else he would have got it out. No one just sits there with a dingleberry stuck in their booty without pushing all the way out if they're able to push all the way out. No animal or mammal or anything that defecates does that, okay? So I'm like, oh shit. So I'm like, okay, well, how do I do this? So I take to the internet and I look it up. And the internet says, take a wet towel, a warm wet towel, and rub it on his booty. And that's gonna stimulate his booty to help him pass it. So I do that, and then he ends up passing that little piece of dingleberry, okay? This is so gross. I'm so sorry. This is the life of being a cat mom. This is disgusting, but it's the truth. Okay, so then, some time goes by, like the next day or like the day after, something happens, and I notice that Mr. Kitty's acting the same way again. He's standing like he wants to go poopy, but he can't poopy, right? So I'm like, oh Lord, not again, Mr. Kitty. So I'm like looking online, like constipated cat, you know, like how do I fix this constipated cat? And And also, by the way, I'm just gonna stop this video right here and just say now, this story is a little long, and so I've just made the executive decision that I'm going to talk about my soft girl era reframing negative thought patterns in a different video. So if you came here for that, we're not talking about that anymore here. We're just gonna finish telling the story time because this is a lot, okay? So so I'm looking up constipated cat, how to help your constipated cat, what to do when you have a constipated cat. And a lot of people are saying, put a little olive oil, give them a little bit of olive oil, right? So I get those little cat treats that come in like this tubes and they're like goo or whatever. I had some of those that Zach gave me, and I ended up mixing that with olive oil and giving it to Mr. Kitty. And basically, long story short, like nothing was really working. Like he was still super constipated, and I started to get kind of worried, right? I went to work on Friday. I had a double on Friday from work, and I went home on my break. I had to like leave work early from lunch, go home, check on Mr. Kitty, make sure he was good, then go back for dinner shift. And like, I just was really worried. And then I woke up Saturday morning, and I wasn't sleeping well because I was kind of worried about him. And I was reading online, like it could be like 72 hours before they pass, before like maybe you should start worrying about whatever. So Saturday morning, by the end of the day on Saturday, it would have been 72 hours. And I had to work a double on Saturday, 9 a.m. I normally get off at like midnight when I work on Saturdays, 9 a.m. to midnight. No, I don't go home in between. I'm there the whole day. And so I was like, okay, listen, I don't think that I want to leave him. I'm just scared to leave him for that long with him constipated still, when it's going to be creeping up on the 72-hour mark. Like I want to be here to watch him. Something needs to give, right? So I'm like, oh, I think I'm going to have to take him to the vet because nothing I'm doing is working. I think he needs like an enema or like some laxatives or something, right? So I ended up taking him to the vet, and we went to Banfield, which, by the way, Banfield has like this pet insurance plan or whatever that I signed up for, and I think that I highly recommend it. I mean, I can't say for sure yet because it's only been like a few days, but I think that it's going to be a really good thing. So if you have Banfield, I would look into that for your little pets, because it comes with like their little plan. It's like so much per month, but like it comes with a bunch of stuff for the pets. So like if you need like urinalysis or like x-rays or certain medications and stuff, like you get discounts or like, and those things covered because you have this plan. Anyway, so I take him there, and I was late for work because I had to drop him off at the vet, and then I had to leave work early to pick him up from the vet. And they gave him, oh shoot, we're still filming though, but my lower power mode came on, so I've been talking a lot. I've filmed a lot of videos today. So they gave me stool softeners for him. So I've been giving him these stool softeners for Mr. Kitty. And the thing is, how you administer it to him is through a syringe. It's like a little like thing you squirt in their mouth, and it's like this sticky liquid medicine, right? So I don't know if you guys have ever tried to give a cat medicine out of a syringe before, medicine in general anymore, but it normally isn't the easiest thing to do. And sometimes like it just like gets everywhere and like like it's not an easy task to accomplish. So basically Mr. Kitty has been getting very dirty, trying to feed him this super sticky like stool softener through this syringe. He's been getting super sticky and just like gross. Okay, and now we're at the end of the story time, Mr. Kitty, because this is a lot. We're not out of the woods yet, but I feel like we're getting there. This was his third day taking the stool softener, and he is passing poopies, which is good, and we're happy that he's doing that. But mommy still has a headache because he's not back to normal, and what that causes, because this is what happened last time, whenever I take Mr. Kitty out of the house and take him to the vet, he comes home smelling like other animals in the vet. He doesn't smell like himself. And so Miss Kitty doesn't recognize him. And so Miss Kitty, it's like so much drama in this house whenever we get back for like another week or two after that, because Miss Kitty is like hissing at him and growling at him and won't let him come anywhere near, and like they both can't be in the bed at the same time, and like it's like just a lot of drama. It's a lot of drama. And right now Miss Kitty is sitting on the floor back here, you know, by the cat tree, and she is just sitting there looking at Mr. Kitty like this. Like, who the hell are you? What are you doing in my house? And Mr. Kitty is just like, honestly, a little defeated because he's been through a lot the past few days. Today I had to give him a bath to get all the sticky stuff off of him, and he just has not had the easiest week. And now his sister won't even talk to him, and so he's like, so she's like, "Rah," and he's like, because he's like, I want my sissy, like I love her, but she just like doesn't recognize him, and so it's like a lot of drama. And there's been so much cat drama in this house lately. And Mr. Kitty is still damp from his bath, okay, because he got a bath earlier, and so I'm gonna pick him up. But just know that he's looked a little better in his day. He really, haven't you, Mr. Kitty? You've looked better in your day, haven't you, Mr. Kitty? And Mr. Kitty, you've been going through it, huh? You've been going through it, baby. Is that right, baby? Okay, he's a little bit not, you know, he's been going through it, you guys. He's very stressed out. So leave Mr. Kitty some encouraging words in the comment section down below. Leave him a little heart emoji if you're sending your love his way, because he definitely needs it. He's definitely like not the happiest version of himself he's ever been. So and he's also mad at me for bathing him. So that's what we're going through right now. But anyway, you guys, I guess this is going to be that video because we're 16 minutes and 36 seconds in, and it's like, there's no way to transition this story into talking about negative thought patterns and reframing them. There's just no good transition. So we're going to save that for another video, but I wanted to update you on what's going on in my life, what's going on in this household with the cats, and this crazy stuff that's been going on. So this has been a story time video about Mr. Kitty's pooping problem. You know, cats are like, some cats are just so high maintenance and hard to take care of, and some are just so easy. Like, she's so easy to take care of. She's so low maintenance. And then he is so high maintenance. He just needs special food. Oh, and by the way, in between that, I had to buy probiotics for him. I tried to buy probiotics for him. He wouldn't eat them. I got like another food that I mixed in with the Royal Canin food that had higher fiber in it, so he can eat both and get a higher fiber in his diet, because the doctor said that he was eating too much protein, not enough fiber, and that's why he was all backed up. And so that, and then she was saying that he wasn't drinking enough water still. And I was like, well, he eats soup every day because he eats the wet food and I put water in it, so it makes it soup for him. So he has soup for dinner every day and water, and you tell me he's still not drinking enough water? And she's like, Mr. Kitty, what's wrong? Baby, you are tearing yourself up over here, babe. You okay? Okay. I don't know what's going on there, but he's like, my baby is going through it down there, you guys. And he was just scratching, but I felt like he was scratching really hard. He's good though. But so they, what was I saying? Oh, I was talking about probiotics and the new food and all that stuff. Oh, and then he wasn't getting enough water still, apparently, so I had to buy a cat fountain, a cat water fountain for him to drink out of, and he really likes that, by the way. So it's like this thing that like filters water. It looks like a little fountain and stuff, so he really enjoys that. So hopefully that'll help us permanently fix the lack of like the water thing. But I'm just like, he's just so high maintenance, and it's like all the other cat, or Miss Kitty, she's like so low maintenance, and every other cat that I've had has not been this high maintenance. I don't know. It's fine. I love him, but he is he is a handful. He is a handful. Anyway, that's gonna be it for today's video, you guys. That's the update on what's going on in my life. It's been very stressful dealing with cat drama. Lots of cat drama in this house. Cat wars are in full effect, and Miss Kitty is, and the thing is, when Miss Kitty gets like angry, she's like super mean. She's like, rawr. I mean, you heard it at the beginning of this video. She's like, rawr. And she's like super vicious, and it's like, stop. And it's like so not how she normally is, and it's like ugh, so off-putting, this. Anyway, you guys, I'm gonna go. That's what I've been dealing with in my life this past week. And it also, and all of this stuff, by the way, I know I keep saying I'm gonna go, but all this stuff, by the way, is the reason that I only have 2 days off this week instead of my 3. And I know people are like, oh, poor you only have 2 days off. No, the thing is, during my days off, I film and edit and stuff. So it takes a lot of my time. And this week, I'm having to cram it all in to basically one day, because I have to work an extra full double shift this week to make up for Mr. Kitty. There's cat drama and mommy is stressed. But anyway, you guys, I'll see y'all in a video very soon. And we're going to talk about, in a video coming up, about this whole like soft girl era, reframing negative thought patterns and all of that. I want to talk about that, but not in this video. It's not gonna fit. So I know the beginning of the intro to this video was saying we're gonna talk about that, and we never did. Stay tuned for that. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.